Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about the repairs of microwave oven. So this is my microwave oven that went bad. It was not heating, and I really had to learn about the microwave repairs and then kind of fix it myself. Now it is a very dangerous task, especially the high voltage compartment stuff. So if you're not as skilled, I would not try it. But if you know your stuff and can do it safely, watch this video till the end and you'll learn a lot about microwaves and what are the things and the components that can go bad that you can replace and get yours working again. So make sure you watch it till the end because there's a lot of information. There are videos on YouTube out there that talks about the repairs in bits and pieces. There are micro switches and smaller stuff, and they don't talk about everything. But in this video I'm going to be talking about everything since I tore everything apart, and I was able to drill down exactly what was wrong with it and fix it. So watch the video till the end and hopefully you like this video.
How to do it. Let me show you how to do it.
This is my microwave oven, and it stopped working, and I fixed it. It's right now it's working fine. I just want to walk you through what I did and what you can do to troubleshoot. So the very first thing you guys need to do is make sure your power supply is good. So the power cord that is coming in, you need to make sure that is supplying power. And there are two fuses right there, this one and this one. So you might have one fuse or two fuse depending on. So this is kind of like the circuit board that brings in the power and then distributes that power to the rest of the stuff. So you got to make sure that the power is getting here, and these fuses are not blown. So the very first thing you want to check is check these fuses. Now there are two capacitors. Sometimes you might have one. So there's one right there. There's one right there. This is the main high power capacitor, which kind of feeds the magnetron. So this is your magnetron. Now this circuit is very, very dangerous. So if you're not skilled, I would not recommend you opening this or testing it or doing anything with it. It's okay to troubleshoot, the low voltage stuff right here. Well, when it comes to the high voltage stuff, you cannot just take a voltmeter and test for high voltage, because there is this lead, which is very, very high power lead, which is providing power to the magnetron, and this is very high voltage. And you can even see this is the magnetron, and you can even see it says danger high voltage. So you got to be careful. All right, so going back to the troubleshooting part. So in my case, when I came here, I made sure I had power right there, which is the main power supply. I was getting power, so kind of follow the wires, make sure you're getting the power supply, which is this guy right there, So I had the power on my source. I checked my fuses, all those were good. And then the next thing you can test for is kind of like try to see what's happening with your microwave, right? So in my case, it was turning on, everything was working, all the door lights, everything was working. My tray was turning, and it felt like the microwave was running, but it was not humming. It makes that every time you turn the microwave on, it's supposed to make that humming sound. That humming sound kind of comes from the magnetron, and that humming sound was not coming, and the water was not heating or any food was not heating. So many times, you may want to troubleshoot everything on the front first before you open it up, So imagine if this microwave was mounted, up on above the stove or something, then you don't really have an access to take out the entire microwave, and it becomes very cumbersome, to remove the cover and all that stuff. So the very first thing, you can check a few things by removing the front fascia right there. So this is only held by a couple of bolts, that you can remove. And, basically you have to remove the top strip, and then you can get to this, and this kind of slides out. So anyways, this video is not about how to disassemble it. There are many videos out there for doing so. But once you get this out, these are three switches, which are the door switches. Now, these are very common to go bad. One of the things people do a lot is if their microwave is running, they'll come and they just pop the door out. That is very, very, very bad for the microwave. Never do that, because now you're trying to break that current through those micro switches, and they're not designed to do that. And over time, they can go bad. So always turn it off, electronically by pressing this, stop, and then open the door. But anyways, so there are 3 buttons. You got to diagnose these buttons just to make sure all 3 buttons are working. There are different symptoms. I'm not going to get too much in detail into these buttons. They're very common, and you'll find a bunch of videos, that tells you or talks about that. Also, there is this power. You can pull this out and you can check voltage on this wire, which will tell you that everything, you have power, or you have the power supply working all the way down here. So that also kind of tells you that your power supply is good. And that is only for the last one, but the first 2 are kind of like a cutoff switch, for the doors, more like a fail-safe system, that they have these 3 switches. So anyways, in my case, my microwave was running. So in many cases, the microwave is not turning on at all, and the turntable is not turning. That could lead or point you towards these switches going bad. But in my case, it was turning, so I knew my switches were good. Nothing was wrong with it. So the very first thing I did was I had to open it up because I have to get into the high voltage compartment. So then you remove the cover, and the very first thing you want to check is your first kind of turn it on and just to see what's happening. So if this fan is not working, in my case the fan was running, so I knew that I had voltage right there, and the fan is working. I did not see or hear that hum, which tells me that this high voltage transformer is not getting electricity, right? Or it's either getting it and it's not supplying it. So the very best way is to find out is to check voltage. So the very first thing I did was, this is a diode right there, and this is the high voltage diode, and sometimes these also go bad. So you're gonna make sure this diode is good. There are many videos how to test the diode to make sure that's working. But also you have to test the capacitor. Now be very careful. If you have this plugged in, this capacitor can hold a lot of charge, and it could be very, very dangerous. So don't just remove it like that. You may want to discharge it or leave it unplugged, for a couple of hours, so the discharges kind of happens. And once you pull these plugs off, you can take a screwdriver and touch the 2. These are insulated right now, but you have to make sure these are exposed, and then you can touch them. So that kind of discharges the capacitor. So once the capacitor is discharged, only then you can check for the microfarad, whatever the microfarad rating is for this. Normally it says right there, it says 0.9 microfarad. So it's a very, very low microfarad rating on this capacitor. So normally think of it on an air conditioning system, right? On a fan it's like 5 microfarad. So this is like 0.9, and your AC compressor runs at around 10 microfarad or 40 microfarad, depending on the type of the AC and the size. So this is very low rating, 0.91 microfarad. Anyway, so this was good. I knew my diode was good. I had to remove each and every component. And now I'm getting into the high voltage part. Well, I'm already kind of into it by removing this, right? So make sure it's not plugged in. Again, take safety precautions. If you're not good with this stuff, please don't do that. Now there are also these thermistor kind of these devices right there. So make sure these have continuity, and this is very easy to test. You can just pop this out, check for continuity, and these are kind of like, you can call them sensor, and they're supposed to be continuous. So same thing over here. So you can just grab an ohm meter and just make sure it's beeping, or you're reading some kind of very low impedance. So that will tell you that, hey, this is good, that is good. These are just something that you can check fairly quick. So you're kind of bypassing everything else. So the next part for my end was to check voltage here to make sure I was applying or supplying voltage to this thing so it can supply power to the magnetron. So I checked my voltage right here, and I was not getting anything. So this is high voltage, right? But this is still 120 that you're supplying to this guy, and then it's taking that 120 and stepping it up, to provide to the magnetron and stuff. But I was not getting voltage right here. So that kind of points me towards my board. And if you look at the board, there are 2 relays, which you don't see right there. Okay, so these 2 relays were mounted just like that. and like that. So these supply 120 volt, and many times these go bad. So I kind of, this isn't a spare board, so you can see like I already have a board in there. So, but I do have a spare board right there. What has happened, or what can happen over time, is see these contact right there inside, they get dirty and corroded and burn, so they don't make good contact and don't supply power to this guy. So you know, in my case, I mean, these are very cheap, you can pick it up, and you know, these can go bad. So anyways, I kind of unsolder it from here, and you know, this was kind of like my trial board, but I did replace the two relays right there. And let's go and watch how I replaced it, and let's talk a little bit about the board. All right, so I have this controller board out from my microwave, and if you're not getting the proper voltage on your Magnetron, this is your culprit. So these are the high voltage relays, these are the low voltage relays, but since we're not getting the high voltage, you know, these must be bad. So I kind of took mine apart, and this is the information on my relay. I don't know if you can see this, a 24 volt relay. And I kind of opened it, and you can see how the contacts are burned. And if they're not making good contact, I mean, it's not gonna conduct any voltage, and you can see how bad they are, hardly making any contact. So of course they're not gonna bring any voltage, you know, to, or proper voltage to the device, and your Magnetron is not gonna work. So so on this particular one, there are, you can see there are three, well, this as well, but these are the two coils that picks up the coil, which pick up the relay, and then this is the high voltage probes. So that's all there is to it basically. And this pin is the same as this pin, but because you can see these are connected, so technically it's these two and these two, and this is connected to this. That's why you see 5 pins. And in some cases there is a 6th pin sticking out from the bottom right here, which is just a ground pin, so you can technically pop it out and remove it, which I have it somewhere right here. This is the pin that I came with the new relay, and I just popped it out because there was no place to solder it on the board itself. So that's why on the back you only see this pin, this pin, this, and this for one relay. Well, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3. So again, these two, third, this, and this. And removing the solder is very easy if you use a device like this. So this is kind of like a plunger, you know, you just pop it out and it sucks everything right in. So this is a very good device too. And then this is for soldering. You can also use this metallic tape, you know, to get the solder out, but this is a much painful process, so I did not even use it. Just use that sucker and that suction thing, and it sucked everything out right away. And then I just soldered it, you know, back on the board, the new relays, and that's pretty much it. You know, these relays you can get from eBay, you know, or Amazon for like 10 bucks, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, whatever. But these are much cheaper. You know, if you want to overnight it, it's a little bit more expensive. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and plug it in, and here's the information on the relay in case if you guys want. It's 24 volt DC. So you can pause it and get the information out of this. The one that I ordered is the exact same one. You know, some information was different, but what you need to look for is 24 volt DC, and it's rated for 220 volts. And those are the main things that you need to worry about. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in, and hopefully my microwave should be working now. Okay, so now since we have the new board installed now, and I connected everything back to the way it was, at this point I turn it on. I connected everything, turned it on, and guess what I hear this time? I do hear the magnetron kick on, but I hear like cracking and like, and it was like humming, like, it didn't really sound right. So I kind of had a feeling at that time that this magnetron was going bad eventually, and was sucking in too much power, and which eventually, caused stress on these relays, and the relay went bad. So I had two issues basically now, that I had to replace my relays, which I did on my existing board. And once I replaced the relay, I was getting voltage here, and it was supplying it to my magnetron, but it was not doing its job. The magnetron was not doing its job. It was way too weak. So these things have a life. This is an old microwave, and hey, it's just the end of life. So I picked one up from Amazon for like $50, and I swapped it, and I plugged it in. And as soon as I plugged it in and powered this thing up, everything worked fine. So again, two things, you got to check all your voltages, check your capacitor, check your this thing right there, the diode, and just make sure everything is working good. You're getting voltage right there. Now, very rarely I've seen this power supply gone bad, but they can go bad, but these are very thick coils, so I would highly doubt that this thing went bad. Now, I couldn't check the output because I don't have a high voltage probe, but if you do have a high voltage probe, you can. There are different ways of testing these as well, so I'm not going to get into those, but I knew that this thing was putting out because I heard the magnetron, kick on. So that's when, after I replaced the relay and I heard the magnetron and it wasn't doing its job, I kind of knew that something is wrong with my magnetron. So I replaced it, and everything works fine now. So, after replacing the relays and the magnetron, the problem is solved, and this is a working microwave now. So I'm gonna put everything back together, and I just wanted to give you guys some knowledge on how to fix a microwave. It's a very simple design, guys. If you really try to understand it, it's not that bad. I had to teach myself a little bit about this microwave, and kind of figured it out. So hopefully it will help you guys. But if you guys do have any questions, please leave it in the comment, and I'll try to help you guys with whatever problems that you guys are facing. I love fixing my own things, and this is one of the things I did, and I'm happy about it. So hopefully this video helps you guys. Guys, if you like the video, please subscribe to my channel and like the video. Thanks for watching.